Serpents of gray smoke twist from pointer and middle finger where a cigarette rests. Location: 11 o'clock in an empty airport terminal in Phoenix, Arizona. Destination: Hades' underworld. The cigarette ash drifts gently to the sidewalk like synthetic snow. A few more drags and I've reached filter. It's snuffed out in the sandbox ashtray. Eyelids droop. Face sags. It's been a long day. Exhaustion, like mascara, paints this worn figure. I am the walking dead. I am the fading conscious of a tired soul. Visions of family and home drift in and out of mind as I sit in the soft light of the terminal. To wake up in one state with family and friends, and to sleep alone in another, aviation is truly an odd form of travel. I review the events of the day, a blur of strangers' faces and airport food. I had been on the move for over 12 hours. Fatigue is a single thing keeping me from falling asleep where I sit. My eyelids droop to near lock. My head drops. The shuttle arrives. In front of me lays the boat in which all transcended souls face. If fortunate, they have arrived with a boatman's fee, and their tired spirits will cross the river Styx. If not, they are cast into the dark waters for eternity. I fumble in my coat pocket for the toll. The driver steps out of the white van and lights a cigarette he's pulled from behind his ear. The Greeks were wrong. The boatman is no robed soul, but a being in which every feature yells 80s meathead. He tips his dirty Budweiser hat and loads my luggage into the back of the van. I sit down in the passenger seat, weariness taking its final toll as my joints crack. The engine rumbles, and we drift off into the river of spent souls. To pass time and keep myself awake, I start up small talk with the driver. The radio is nearly off, but pauses in the conversation reveal the squealing guitars of 80s metal. The ride drags on longer than expected, and ultimately I run out of things to talk about. I take to looking out the window at the city streets. Halfway into the drive and I truly begin to question if I have passed into some Greek myth. Outside the van crawl the lost souls and wandering phantoms of barren midnight roads of Phoenix, Arizona. Their tormented faces stare into the distance as their spirit bodies drift through a world somewhere between life and death. Specters, haunts, nightmares, empty shells of people whose fate is to roam these dark waters of the Styx. "20 minutes later we arrive. In the absence of pearly gates stood a single sign that read the Days Inn. I step out of the van and part ways with the boatman. He steps back into the vehicle and drives back into the haunted waters. His night might be over, but mine has just begun. I drag my bags into the empty motel lobby and ding the bell on the front desk. From a dark room behind the lobby walks a 5-foot-tall Indian man. Hades, ruler of the underworld and keeper of the dead, is no merciless god, but a little man with a heavy accent. Before I say anything, he has grabbed a key, room 207. I take the plastic key card and catch one more look at the god before he shuffles off into his lair. Sleep is close, I can smell it. Upon opening the door, I am greeted by the overwhelming aroma of stale cigarette smoke and regrettable decisions. I breathe through my shirt sleeve. I drag my things into the room and change into a pair of sweatpants. Head lowers, face loses tension, eyes blur. Sleep is feet away, but I question touching the repulsive bed. The room is worthy of the Sex Pistols' Sid Vicious. The lingering presence of heroin overdoses and heartbroken alcoholics coat every inch of this unfortunate place. I drop onto the bed. 10 minutes had gone by in which I attempted sleep. The pungent stench of stale smoke layers every inch of the room, making sleep nearly impossible. I walk into the bathroom and turn on the fan to try and escape the smell. From a vent in the ceiling came a sound of absolute hell, as if hundreds of cars were consecutively crashing into each other. I had to turn it off. I sat on the grimy toilet and reminisced on the madness of the night. I have to write this down, this is just too much. I turned my head and looked out the shower. One last bad decision. The montage of images that flooded into my head was too much. I had reached my limit. If I did not get sleep, I would have completely lost it. I flushed and walked to bed. I can thank only the gods that sleep came quick.